Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and Disembodied Hands Quindy. We're going to assume that Justin and John are still somewhere with the covers over their heads, avoiding even thinking about Reaper. Hello. Hello. So Kiki's great. Like, she's got meds. David is, like, deep sixed by Concrud. Like, oh my god, like, I came in, it's 9:30 here. I walk into the bedroom, he's gotten up, so I make the bed. And then when he comes out, I'm like, hey, when you come out, Kiki's probably going to want to come out. And he's like, I'm not coming out. I'm like, oh, I made the bed for nothing. So David has been completely destroyed by the Concrud. Like, this is the 4th day he's called in for, and he sounds terrible. Like, just like coughing and like he's just, blowing his nose all the time. Whatever this Concrud is, it has him firmly in its grip. And I'm still recovering from like just all the stress and crap that totally, my digestive system is sensitive, and so I'm still fighting off the effects of that stress. But I feel like I actually slept okay last night, and I feel like I'm eating a very bland diet, so you know how that goes. It's all that fun. It's not sinus. It's very much, it feels like just a bad cold. I don't think it's sinuses. It's very nasal. I don't think it's up in like the sinuses, like behind the thing. I don't know though, Inara. I'm not like, sinus things are something that I'm not familiar with because I never got them really. But he had a student in one of his classes who was obviously sick and still at the con, and he suspects he caught it from that person. Yeah. It is not corona, or it's not the virus. No, he's been testing. I mean, he gets tests through his work, so we had a bunch of tests lying around. So he's like, well, there's no reason not to test. But he's been testing for the last couple of days. He's done a test every night and nothing. So it's just people aren't masking anymore, so the regular bugs are all traveling around, right? So. Yeah, that's such a shame. Like, I get it. Okay, I get it if, like, you're on the flight and then you start coming down with it at the con. Okay, there's not much you can do at that point. But I sometimes suspect that people feel a little off, but then they still come to the con anyway, because they spent a lot of money to get there, and I get that too. But it's like, damn it. But then, everybody else catches the cold. It's very sad. It's very sad. Yeah. Yeah, if you're sick, stay in your room, right? I mean, it's a hard call. You spend, a couple grand or whatever to come to ReaperCon, and you're all looking forward to it, and then you get sick. Yeah. Or, yes, Kerniko, like, I'm with you on that one. Wear a mask. Like, yeah. Yeah, I'm totally, like, it's at this point, after the virus, after Corona, like, there is no excuse for not understanding that masking can help, like, keep your germs to yourself as well as protect others. Like, totally. I'm with you on that. That's, no judgment, but yeah, please, people, please, if you come to a convention and you get sick, like, please find a mask and just wear it. Like, it's just like, it's common courtesy at this point. I don't know. There were a good number. Yeah, I mean, and some people are still uncomfortable just about corona, or they're immune compromised, or they're wearing masks just because, but yeah, you're not going to feel out of place by wearing a mask if you get sick, I think. Yep. No, I'm not going to judge people. It's like, you do what you do, and people are people, and they make the decisions that feel best for them in the moment. And there's not a whole lot you can do after the fact, and judgment does nothing except to make you feel bad and that person feel bad. Or maybe to make that person angry, and then it's double bad. So it's like, no judgment. Unjudge, it does nothing. Nothing except make people feel bad, including you. But yes, so all that considered, David's still sick. I'm still moderately feeling under the weather, but I am hoping, fingers crossed, that I'm now turning the corner on it, since I actually felt like I could sleep last night. All right, so we need to do something about this orange. I'm unhappy with the orange. I like the purple a lot. The purple is really, really, really going well. But the orange is kind of dead in the water right now, so I want to do something about this orange. It needs help. It needs help, everybody. We must fly to the aid of our orange. And Kiki's in the other room, just so I don't have any distractions. She's actually happily listening to her Critical Role. she tends to fall asleep right before the stream in her big crate. And then it's like, well, I don't want to wake her up because then she's going to be awake again. You know, I don't want to wake her up and move her. And weirdly, even though we've got like 4 dog beds, we don't have enough dog beds. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you didn't catch crud, then that's good, Carrie Michael. All right, so we're gonna use a couple things. I'm gonna volcanic orange is pretty much my base. I did mix in a little bit of complementary color to shade it with the purple, but we're gonna work with that. We're gonna actually work with Cavalier orange, which is a great Pathfinder orange, and then we're gonna pop up with our sunrise orange. So Pathfinder does have some interesting colors that do make great triad builders. And the Cavalier, as you can see, is kind of in between these two, although the sunrise will probably have to pop a little bit of lantern yellow into it to make it a real triad, because these two are very close, so we need this one to be a little different. These two are far enough apart. You can see the difference when you look at them there. But I could also just go volcanic to sunrise. I do that plenty of times. But I like Cavalier. I think it's a good solid orange. It's a good medium orange. So, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I totally get people wearing masks. I always assume that when somebody is wearing masks, they're immune compromised and they got a good reason. I mean, or they're sick and they're trying not to infect other people. It's all cool. Whatever. Do you. Do what you need to do to stay safe. That's really what it comes down to. So guys, I've been doing a lot of cork and stuff bases on the stream lately. I'm putting together a more elaborate base for my my Battle Nun, my Limbo character that I've been painting on my personal stream. And I've decided that I'm going to be using that. I'm going to be putting that on my Patreon because I realized I haven't really done any cork-based stuff on my Patreon, and it would be nice to have like kind of a reference for working with cork on there. So I think I'm going to do a series because I can't do it all in one thing. It'd be a huge PDF. Yes, there's my Patreon, patreon.com/paintingbig. So I'm going to be probably for just the $2 tier, just first some simple working with cork, and then I'll essentially I'll be constructing a base for my Limbo figure. Because, yeah, it's great to know that, you know, I do cover it here on the stream, but at the same time, it's hard to, like, figure out which stream I covered it on and look it up and all that kind of thing. So, I know this. I get it. All right. So you can see that there is a difference between Cavalier and Sunrise, but Sunrise is just only a little bit lighter and brighter. So I'm going to pop a drop of Lantern Yellow, this should be your go-to whenever you need to lighten an orange. Like this color right here. If you need to really lighten it, then go with Candlelight Yellow, which is kind of Lantern Yellow plus white. It's a little bit different, but it's very close. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows how to toss gravel on a figure, you know, put glue, put sand, be done. Static grass tuft, etc. Done. That's the great big gaming basing. Like if you're doing an army, that's it. But if you are, see, this bottle of Lantern Yellow is almost out. There it is. I'll do 2. But yeah, I want to just put down kind of because I still get questions about cork basing. So that's a good $2. It's a good basics kind of thing, but then I can also turn it into a more advanced thing. So I like that. Been working on that. Yeah, volcanic is darker redder. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way I tend to like my oranges. Now there is a little bit of oxide in here, so it does also have a little bit of a brown hint. There's a bit of red oxide, and I think a tiny touch of brown oxide as well to darken it. But yeah, I mean, usually when you're shading oranges, you are looking more toward the red side if you want it to look more vibrant. If you go toward the brown side, you're going to end up with more of a muted orange. It's going to read that way. But because volcanic has those oxides in it, it also, hold on, fix focus, there we go. It also covers better. So that's why I always start with darker. Ah, tikka masala, there you go. I just had breakfast because I am not in Scotland, and and I was craving avocado this morning. So I discovered that I did have an old avocado in the fruit drawer, and I was absolutely lucky that it was still good. And I had sliced avocado on my eggs this morning. It was very tasty. Hey, Zachariah. It's not almost noon for me. Wow, I can't even slow me down. Actually, these days, with the way my gut feels, it's actually harder to speed me up. I'm just waiting for, I'm just like, I know that, like, when I've had gastric upset in the past, it's just like, you just gotta wait it out. Eat the bland food. Try to get past the gassiness and the unhappy feeling. Alright, we got some nice. So that lantern yellow is definitely shifted. More almost to the marigold. If I threw a little more lantern in there, I'd get more to a marigold. Now, I do feel like I need just a little bit, and this is candlelight. So if you look at lantern next to candlelight, you see that there's definitely a darker yellow and a lighter yellow here. I feel like I might want a little candlelight in here. I feel like if you stick to very, very bright, intense colors, you'll find that you hit a ceiling on how light you can go. Oh, it's Star Trek Day, huh? I'm going to be watching Overwatch League today after I'm done with my work. There's a tournament. So I am all excited. Rooting for San Francisco and Houston. Oh, wow. That sounds like a project, Zachariah. Grats. So I'm just adding 1 drop of candlelight to here. It's going to shift it more yellow, but it's also going to shift it lighter because there's a little bit of white in the candlelight. And doing it that way means I'm not adding a drop of actual pure white, which would shift the color very, very quickly. I just want a little bit more body to this. I can see how transparent it is. And so hopefully the candlelight gives me just a little bit more coverage. There we go. Now we've got a real triad. Now you can see the difference between the colors, but they all also harmonize with each other. So you know you've got a good triad. Hey, End, how's it going? Ah, big live stream. Yeah, I have to avoid fruit in my current state. That's the biggest sad. I usually have like a little bit of pineapple or something in my oatmeal, but I've had to totally veer away from that. And so this morning I've been making my flax muffins instead because they're easier on my stomach, and I have to avoid fruit and anything acidic right now. No good. No bueno. And I can't have any, I can't do my artificial sweeteners. And I have to watch the amount of sugar I have. So yeah, it's almost like keto right now for me, except I've got to have something like kind of salty and crackery, so I have plantain chips. It's pretty sad. I'm sad about my gastric upset. Otherwise, I feel fine. Like, other than obviously like feeling like I need sleep because I'm not sleeping great because of it. All right, let's get down here. Let's brighten up this orange. Oh, good. Yes, good, good, good. I'm glad you introduced it in the Reaper Challenge League. Reaper Challenge League is such a good, nice motivator, and the community is so great around it that, yeah, thanks, Inara. Inara gets a gold star. Yeah, you're always surprised, right? Because, like, Reaper Challenge League is pretty well known, I think, among our Twitch people, but a lot of Reaper fans just haven't, maybe they just don't follow social media. Like, that's fair because I don't have a lot of time for social media myself these days. So yeah, good job spreading the word because RCL was fun. So I'm essentially using my new colors. Hello, Roger. So I'm going to just hit a little bit of a corner here. You can see I just bring in that little highlight. I am using my my standard brush today, my Da Vinci Maestro Series 10 size 1. I think though, just looking at how this is coming up, I think I am actually going to mix up some pure candlelight yellow. You can see that that color is pretty light, but it's not going to really bring it up. I am not actually. I am doing a layering brush stroke. So instead of doing dot, 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 I'm doing lines. I like to do horizontal lines across the vertical surfaces. It tends to make them easier to blend. And even if I decide not to blend this cloth per se, because I'm not getting smooth transitions at this point, I'm not working hard enough to get smooth transitions, that horizontal weave effect that I'm getting is very close to a fabric texture. So I would, the only time you stipple cloth is if you are doing wool. Wool or suede leather, both of those have a pill to them, a texture that is enabled by stippling. But in all other woven cloth, you're really, and felt, if you're doing, that's wool, of course, felted, although they use other fabrics for it now, or other, other materials for it now, but originally was felted wool. But anything with that kind of soft, fuzzy thing, I don't usually do it for crushed velvet, but that's another one you could justify it on, but you'd have to be doing that on a very large model. 28 millimeter crushed velvet it's just the way you highlight and shade it is how you get the effect. You don't really do the texture. There's definite limits on textures for what you can do at 28 millimeter. Good. I'm glad you're back in the saddle, Kodiak. Yep, and if you're on a good Discord like Reaper Discord, you could always ask for feedback, or on my Discord if you're a patron. I have a feedback wanted channel, and I do try to check that every time I get on, and to give feedback if I see that other people have given feedback that I agree with. Usually I'll hold off, but otherwise I try to chime in. So you can already see the difference here. I've gotten a little more yellow. I've gone a little bit away from the reddish color up here, but I'm much brighter. I like the way that that's popping a lot better. Let's see. Let's grab some candlelight. Make a new puddle. And since I often bring my reds up to yellow, it should serve as no surprise that I am going to bring my orange up to yellow when I'm doing it. Good, yeah. Once you've gotten the eyes done right once, Twisted Oma, it's a lot easier to then move forward because you know you've done it once, so you know you can do it again. It might take you a few tries to do it right again, but then every time you do it, it gets a little easier. I mean, I still have days where I'm having trouble painting eyes, so it's never easy to paint an eye, but it can get a lot more oh, all right, I guess I have to redo that one, that kind of thing. Good, Inara. Yeah. That's super cool. You learned a lot of new techniques. Alrighty. I want to push this back out. So I just want a little bit of that yellow. And I may have to blend it in a little bit. Yellow and orange are kind of weird. They're the most translucent colors in the world when you're trying to put down a base coat. But when you're trying to thin them to make them into a good layering color, they fight you. They will leave brush marks, and you'll be like, you're transparent. Why are you leaving brush marks? But they actually do. They're very contrary that way. Once again, I don't mind leaving a little bit of texture here because it's going to suggest a cloth weave. But I don't want a lot. But that's pretty nice. You can post or not post as you wish, Kodiak. I mean, you can totally do a Do a social media where everybody always posts their perfect life, and you can just wait until you're actually proud of what you do. You don't have to feel pressured to post something if you're like, not proud of it. Like, don't, just keep it to yourself then if you want to. Nobody's gonna judge you on it. I'm gonna put a glaze of my Cavalier orange over the top of this, real thin, and to show you the consistency right here. Because the orange is so very transparent as it is, I didn't have to thin it as much as I would thin some other colors. So essentially, putting that over there is going to intensify it. You can see how much more poppy that is now and how this is a lot more dull. So, yeah, I hear you, Inara. I have so many pretty things to paint. So many pretty things. Oh my god. Ermagerd! Because David got me 2 things for Robot Rocket for my birthday, and so I keep, even though my best intentions are here, I'm like still piling up beautiful figures, and I'm like, oh no. The more I look at this, the more I realize I should have just done this part in orange. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I don't like that dark blue anymore. Yeah, it works better with the purple because the purple is a bit of a reddish purple. And so essentially pushing it more toward yellow is pushing it more toward purple's complementary color. That's why it works better. It's why you instinctually like it better. Even if you think you have no color sense, your human eyeball does have color sense. It knows that contrast looks good when it sees it. Sometimes then you just have to teach your brain why that is, and then you can start utilizing those lessons. So I'm mixing up some pure white now because I'm going to essentially make this little section here. I had gone with like a blue-black on it, but I don't like that anymore. And since I went with a purple here and a purple here, there's no reason not to make this orange. I think I can still make the orange dark enough near the scrolls that they don't run into each other. That was my initial thing, is I wanted my scrolls to stand out, but they stand out just fine over here. So I think my fear was unfounded, and I'm going to go back and change that color. Now to change it, because orange is very transparent, I need to put down white first. So essentially it's just white paint, it's not white primer, but essentially I'm priming white, quote unquote, over the top of my blue, and then I'll put down my orange. David likes scribbly things. Like, he does paint some pretty women, but he likes ugly ogres and orcs and stuff too. So I'm going to put down the white there, and I accidentally got it over my gold, but because my gold is only base coated, I don't care. I do want to leave a dark line between the gold and the orange, though, so I'm going to leave that little line in there. And up at the top, I'm going to just make sure this is pretty solid. Wherever I only leave, like if I wanted to, I could leave 1 coat of white, and then it would be darker. Oh, David got up after all. Now there's going to be puppy noises. Yeah, atypical stuff. Yep, for sure. Uh-oh. Okay, did I close the gate? I don't know if I closed the gate. Well, if he's going to let the puppy out, hopefully he knows to check. There we go. So as you can see, like putting down the white first gives you a much brighter orange right off the bat, so that's great. We might start hearing some puppy howling since he said hi to her, but then he's not letting her out, so there may be some puppy howling, just so y'all know. Keek's fine. Like, she's, because she's on meds, like, it's just coccidia, so all you need to do is be on that anti-little organism stuff that kills it off, and she's already, like, even bouncier. We gave her a bath yesterday. Oh, wait, maybe I'll show you guys the puppy bath. Hold on, this is cute. She was outraged. She was outraged that we would do such a thing. There we go. There we go. Bedraggle bath puppy. She's sitting there staring at me with her little eyes going, "Urgh." She has such dark eyes that they don't show up when she's in shadow. But, yep, she is very bedraggled and wet. Yes, she was, she's like, "Oh, Mom, what did you do to me? Oh, Mom, oh." So wet. So very wet. Oh, there's the look. Here's the look. How dare you? Oh, she had the zoomies when we came back inside. We baffed her, and then we brought her outside because it was so warm out, right? It was 95, and so when we bathed her, it was still like 92 or something. So that's actually the quick dry method of the puppy. And then after a few minutes out there, so that she could start to dry off, we brought her back inside. But yeah, she definitely had the zoomies once we brought her back inside. But yeah, so that's the how dare you look that we got. Yes, she's a little wolfling. There's her sitting, chewing her ball in the kitchen. She loves her ball. Yeah, so that's Kiri's ball, actually, so it's double awesome. All Kiri's old toys and bones are coming out. And Kiri's beds. But yeah, baffed puppy got baffed yesterday, and today is nail trimmings. Got to enlist David to be the treat feeder while I try to trim her paw nails. Because she actually has really good feet, and I want to keep them that way, so I want to keep the nails nice and short. And that, of course, with a puppy, is trying to eat your hand because she thinks you're trying to play. That's always fun, right? So yeah, I need David to feed her treats. Oh, we're going to have coffee making noises. Sorry, guys. If you hear weird noises from the background, that's David's latte. Yeah, I can't even have my tea right now. There's a basilisk in my house. Nope. It is a coffee. It's an espresso machine. David bought it right at the start of the pandemic when I moved in. I'm like, you should totally do this because it's going to save you a ton of money. And sure enough, it did. So it has paid for itself many times over. Yeah, I think that's about right. All right, so we've got that orange in there, and there's another part over here. It's a tiny part. But I'll still put a little bit of orange in there. Brisa basilisk. You guys are funny. Alright, so let's get this little part in here. Rock it in with a little bit of white. And this is the easiest way to just get a little pop. If you have a tiny place that you need to be a bright color, this includes like animal, like monster eyeballs and stuff. Just paint in the white first. I think I need it up here too, but I don't know that I want it up there because I might make that handle there orange. Yeah, I think at this point I have to make stuff over here orange. There's a tiny little piece back there though. Barista basilisk. Yeah, right. Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that figure, Jason Weeby? And again, I don't care if I blurf here because this inside of this cape is just painted dark to begin with anyway, but I'll still take most of it off. And I'll grab my walnut and touch it up. There we go. That would make sense. Yeah, y'all need to remember that for next year's ReaperCon, so you can tell Jason. Or on Facebook. A little bit of orange right back there. And I'm just going to keep that that dark orange back there. I'm not going to actually make it lighter or highlight it because it's really back in the shadow there. I just want the suggestion that it's there, and then I'm done. Stone Cold Awesome Brew. That's a great one, Kerniko. All right. There. Sweet. So there we go. Now we've got some orange blocked in. I also have decided that I want to have orange on here and here because really it's a dual color scheme. So now that I've made that decision, I can just go ahead with my volcanic orange and block that in. But David has emerged. Get that blocked in, and yeah, you can see the big difference between the warmer orange down below and then this colder orange up above. So we'll definitely. Oh, now the puppy's gonna be crying because she woke up when he came out of the bedroom, and I was all excited because Daddy. But now she's still in her crate, and none of the humans are with her. So I may have to take a break and bring the pupper in here. We'll see. She's got her critical role, so if she goes back to settle down, then it'll be okay. But otherwise, I'll take a break to bring in the pupper. She really wants a human. And blocking a line around that hilt there. There's a little bit of a shadow I missed back here. There we go. So now we've got orange. We got most of our stuff filled in. I'm going to go leather with that, leather with that. I still don't know what the heck that is, but you know, whatever. There's got to be something like that end of a belt or something hanging down under that. Puppies are, she doesn't mean to, but she's, you know, puppies are used to playing with their hands or playing with their teeth, and so they're going to get you. And the other day, what was it? There was something that I was doing with her that was just fraught with peril. Like carrying, whenever you have to pick her up and carry her into the vet and all that kind of thing. She's getting much better, though. She's understanding now that if she, starting to understand that if she just stands still and keeps her paws on the floor, that I will bend down and pet her and give her all sorts of lovins. So, she's a smart dog. She's just, got a lot of energy. And she's a baby. So, I expect, by the time she's 12 weeks, we should see vast improvement. And I'm gearing up to, I'm learning what kind of chew toys she likes. So I'm going to gear up to get her some bully sticks and some other stuff for when she's teething. But yeah, this is the bitiest puppy I've ever owned. Possibly because she is a higher energy puppy. And possibly because she just had a lot of litter mates and they were very, they played with their mouths all the time. So I'm not sure. My past dogs, Kiri just ran around with a ball in her mouth all the time. Honestly, Kiri, spent all of her formative, time with us with a ball running around in her mouth. And so she, always had the ball in her mouth. And she was always playing with it. So she never, really, I can't remember Kiri ever tagging me with her teeth. Oh, who had a question? Ketis, I'm sorry I missed it. I'm trying to like go. Oh, I see you. Do you ever use washes or just build up highlights? No, I don't use washes. I actually explained why yesterday. So here's the deal. I used to always use washes. Like when I was painting, when I was first getting better, when I was first starting to paint armies and try to get better and looking at Golden Demon models and all that, getting inspired to be a better painter. I was using a lot of washes. And what I got to realize then is that it cost me more time to do the wash and then correct the wash than if I just bothered to do the layering. So for me, if I put a wash on this, it's going to darken the whole area. I'm going to lose my bright orange, and I'm going to have to fight really hard to get that bright color back. And instead, I can just go and just layer it, and it's so much faster, and I don't have to correct anything. So yeah, there we go. So essentially for me, especially when I got to when I became a Reaper staff painter and everything, I really had to question, the time I was putting in correcting washes. Yeah. And every once in a while I try washes again as a quicker painting technique, and I still don't like them because they always I like to put down my color and have my color exactly the way I want it. When I put a wash on it, it changes the color, and then I have to fight to get my color back. So I could see doing the whole, the new power washes, contrast paint, stuff like that. I can see doing that over a Zenith Prime to get your initial coat of color down and then going up from there. But I don't think I would ever, there are very rare cases I would use a traditional wash anymore. And one of them was actually right here. This is actually just a wash that I did. And I use a wash in this case to bring out the details. I could see that there were details that had been sculpted on this satchel, but I couldn't see them very well. And so I grabbed, it might have been my walnut, looking at how dark it is. Walnut or brown liner. Brown liner is usually what I like to use because the liners are a little more transparent, and so they give you a little better wash. But I did a wash here just to bring out all my details. Then I'll go back in and I'll line all around these, and then I'll do, my base coat and my layering. So for me, a wash these days is very much, if there's a lot of fine filigree and I really want to kind of bring on all those details so I can see them better, I'll do a wash in that case. But that's so that actually enables my painting rather than setting me back a step. But yeah, these days it's always, I usually start dark and work light. Sometimes I will start in the middle and work down and then up. But layering is where it's at for me. Or wet blending. If I need to really work fast, like I did, and we'll actually be working on her on Monday, I think. But when I did this model for the Reaper stream at ReaperCon, I had to work super fast. And so I was doing a ton of wet blending. To get just her basic shadows and midtones in, and a tiny bit of highlight. So I will do wet blending if I want to go faster rather than doing washes. I like the effect better. If that makes sense. Yeah, because I used to always do a wash I would often do a wash just to start out the figure, just all over the figure, to bring out all the details. I did an example on that. Here, I did a Frostblade too, but you can ignore that. So just kind of doing a lot of people will do this on Bones models where they'll do a liner wash. I did a really pale one because it was Death Knight Black, which is very transparent. But a lot of people just do this, start out, bring out all the details kind of thing, and then they'll go and paint it. And that's really valid because then you can see everything to paint it and you can work off your wash. So on occasion I will use a wash that way. But once I'm starting to actually apply paint, I find that it just it annoys me because it'll change the color. I don't want to change the color. I put down the color I want in the first place. Yeah, robes are something that you don't really want to wash. Usually where washes excel is areas of tight detail. So to bring out all of these little details in here, this would be an area that you might put a wash over. But on robes, there's no deep detail sculpted. There's just folds. And then the wash just pulls in them and makes this ugly dark shadow. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's not ideal. And then really flat areas like this, the wash just wouldn't work, right? It would give you this line, but I can just easily paint that line in. So for me, it makes more problems than it solves at this point in my painting career. I usually go into a mini. I know all my colors, and I'm like, I use a lot of light, and I prime white. If I don't prime white, then I'm going to do a zenith, and that's going to bring out my details. So like tomorrow, we're going to be working on Kitty Mage here. I primed Kitty black, but there, as you can see, a lot of the details weren't really picked up by the primer. I was going pretty lightweight with it. I didn't want to drench it. And so my primer is really pale, and I don't want to do that. I want to actually have a stronger zenith. So tomorrow I'm going to go through and do sketch and essentially bring out stronger all the areas that I want to bring up here. And then I can see all the details. I can go and hit all the details. Then you know you're not going to miss anything. So, and then white primer, just for me, it brings out everything, or gray, light gray. I also have used that. And so I rely on those to make sure that I don't miss any details. But the zenith I really like these days just as a starter. On bones, as you can see, I'm often just working straight over the bones material. So a lot of this is still... Her I actually think I did prime. I think I base coated her gray and then I primed her white over the top. So she's actually got a gray-white zenith. You can kind of see it there. But... So I tend to work over lighter surfaces too, and then I can see everything. In fact, Fishy Dude, who we were working on yesterday, giant sea cyan, I'm just working right over the bones material and just building up everything. And I can see all these details pretty well, so I don't really... And because this is the gray material that's very different from all my other color scheme stuff, it's going to be very evident if I miss something. So... I find that I was in the most danger of missing things and not being able to see them when I used black primer for a short period of time. Like everybody was like into black primer back when I was getting like really starting to paint. And so I tried it and I just realized that I really couldn't see the details with it. So I moved away from it. And now I only use black primer with zenith if I'm going to do an overspray. You have to go to work tomorrow. Oh no, yeah, you're gonna miss the kidda. Good, lady. Glad. Yeah, in-person painting classes. And like ReaperCon is always so inspirational. Because like there's just so many awesome models to look at and there's so much cool stuff to buy and you get so excited and you learn new stuff and you get good feedback and then you're like totally jazzed to paint. Like that's what ReaperCon is really good at. So I'm going to take in my my real light orange here, which is my mix of lantern yellow with 1 drop of candlelight and some sunrise. I'm going to bring up the center of that scabbard thing. And I'm going to hit the up here. Now, if we want to, we can bring out some texture on this dagger handle. Dagger handles often don't have the texture sculpted, which can be a little bit annoying. But you can actually take your white and make little dashes like cord wrapped handle, and let that dry. Oh, Julie cleaned house. Yes, yes. Nova open. Yeah, it tends to be the same weekend as ReaperCon. Yes. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that Nova did well for you. I have never been able to go because, of course, every year I go to ReaperCon. And this year I was trapped at home with a puppy while my fiance went to ReaperCon and got Concred. Oh, yeah? Julie with the trophies, huh? I didn't hear that. That's news. Congrats, Julie. Not mentioning that you totally owned the field there. There we go. So then you put a glaze of orange over this, and it changes the white to orange, and then you have a wrapped handle on your dagger. Super easy. Easy peasy. I like easy stuff. Easy little fixes, easy little hacks. Like seriously, underpainting, it's a thing. Using white to create fast highlights and details with underpainting is a thing. Oh yeah, if you're right near it, then totally makes sense, lady. Yeah, come out to ReaperCon sometime. It's a different sort of con. ReaperCon is unique. More expensive of a trip for you, though, for sure. I'm just going to put a little bit of a highlight there at the top, and a little bit of a highlight here at the bottom. Just working on blending in this this scabbard a bit here. Oh, that we all do that, Julie. We always all see the problems in our stuff. And then we get so super surprised and gratified when people like it. It's because we're too close to it. Like we know where to look to see all the fails. I'm just glad that you're like finding time to paint. Like for so many years, you and Bob would come to ReaperCon, you'd pick up all the paint, and then you'd be like, I never had any time to use it. And I'm so happy that you're painting. Like, I know you've been wanting to for ages. And I think it's a whole like gratifying experience too. It must be as a sculptor to just be able to actually do both, right? There is no such thing as too many minis. I mean, for me, there is, but for most people, no, not really. I mean, worst case scenario, if over time you lose the love for some of those minis and realize you are never going to actually paint them, then just find a new home for them. A cool mini never really like depreciates. You can usually find a home for it on eBay somewhere. Just think of your minis as an investment. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I mean, some minis get dated. Like, obviously, the stuff, some of the stuff that was being produced earlier on is not as good as today's stuff. But, good. Good, Julie and Bob. I'm happy. Happy that it is motivating you. Yay. All right, I wanted to put another layer of my dark orange over here. We haven't even touched the back of this model yet. I'm just trying to get everything tuned. Doing a lot of orange, much orange today. Oh, the pupper's quiet, so I guess we're good. Yeah, that's good. That's good, Candace, that you want a pile of shame. That's funny. I've had a mega pile of shame, and then I got rid of a lot of my pile of shame, and then I got more of a pile of shame again, and then I got rid of a lot of it before I moved out here to California. Just I didn't have room. So many people benefited by my generosity in like giving away and selling for cheap a lot of minis that were really awesome. But for me, it feels better to have less because I get overwhelmed so easily. All right, so now let's do kind of a glaze over the top here. I want to bring it up that stuff. You can see how much redder this color is and how much brighter this is. And I like it a lot better. So the first thing we're going to do is just put a glaze over this red stuff. We're going to use our Cavalier Orange, which is our middle color here. Middle orange, just to brighten up. We're going to make a glaze, and we're just going to brighten up that top layer. Just with one layer of brighter orange. So we're going to go with this. And it's pretty thin. You can see that's pretty thin. I'm not making it as thin as I would normally make a glaze because I do want to shift the color a fair bit. See how that comes on. See how much that shifts it. Oh, 20 minis from your pile of shame. Dang, Rapster, that's amazing. Good job. Yeah, I'm just doggedly kind of working. I'm such a slow painter because I layer, and I tend to like to take my time. So I'm usually very, so you can kind of see how that is bringing it up more yellow than how that is. See the difference. So one glaze can do quite a bit to shift a color. Alrighty. I'm going to paint over all of this stuff just to get it brighter and lighter. Then I can highlight it from there. All right, we're to the back. Awesome cape time. I'll come back and do the front too. It might take us a couple of sessions to get all this set. We'll see. It's an orange. It's Cavalier orange. And yeah, this is a little thicker. If you see chalkiness, chances are your glazes are actually too thin. So like if I've got a yellow, I'm gonna throw a drop of water in it on a 1-to-1. Yellows and oranges, I often go thicker with my glazes because they're so naturally transparent. So really pulling this over the surface, you see that it's really not there. It looks like it's thick, but it's not there. But it's really a matter of don't over thin. With chalkiness, it's almost always over thinning. Washes are completely different. Washes and glazes are two different beasts. Glazes are much thinner than washes. Glazes are applied to shift or intensify a color or to blend in layering lines as opposed to create areas of shadow. Glazes modify a surface very little, whereas washes can modify a surface very much. That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to create dramatic contrast, whereas glazes are really just a fine-tuning mechanism. Freehand just takes practice, in my opinion. And when you apply a glaze, you never let it pool. You always wick off any extra fluid. So yeah, I find that washes cost me time and glazes save me time. Because instead of repainting this whole surface, I can just glaze a couple times, shift the color warmer, and then highlight it up. Yeah, we base this cloak on a World of Warcraft cape because WoW has some really atrocious capes and also some cool looking capes. But the great thing about using computer rendered designs for capes on miniatures is that it's the same kind of thing. In WoW, you've got a 3D model, but the cloak needs to look 3D, but it's actually very flat. And the same thing here. The cloak needs to, you want the design to look 3D, but it's actually flat. So it's actually a good reference. Yeah, that is a problem. Many artists will use the term interchangeably, or they're just like confused, or they honestly think that they're kind of the same thing. But the way you use them is very different. I mean, when you're putting a wash over, you're trying to take advantage of details of the sculpt and to allow the wash to settle and pool places. With a glaze, you never want that to settle and pool because you've thinned it so much it's going to dry weird and leave coffee stain marks and stuff like that. So a wash is really meant to bring out detail through pooling in aspects of the sculpt that are deeper, whereas a glaze is meant to shift a color or to hide brush marks by putting a layer of color down between the original layer and the viewer's eye. So it's a very, very different utility. It's a totally different thing. Technically, will a wash hide brush marks? Yeah, but it'll also probably lose a lot of your highlights. So like how you apply it, the paint consistency it should be at, and its overall main goal from wash to glaze, they're very different. And here I just want to bring up a bit of more of yellow in here, so I'm taking my Cavalier Orange. And I am bringing more of that yellow tone. You can even see it. See how it's changing? Even with that little bit of a brush stroke, you can see the difference between this color and this color. This is more tomatoey, and that's more tiger. That is why I exist, guys. I exist to give clarity to the internet. At least with painting terms. I can't give much clarity on most other topics. And really, I'm limited to painting, writing, and dog genetics. If you're one of those, if you need clarification on something there, then I can help. Anything else, you're out of luck. Go find somebody else. So again, I want to wick off any excess here. I've got a little bit of a pooling color here. I try to wick off from the edge or up against one of these dark sections so that I'm not directly impacting the glaze. Hey, I call them like I see them. I believe in, let's see, there's, actually I was just listening to a new audiobook on finances last night. And the guy, actually, the intro, the guy brought up why he liked this book. And essentially he's like, instead of bringing out like all these charts and like weird technical terms to explain financials, this guy essentially likens the stock market to a mug of beer and explains why you should buy it, even though a lot of it is froth and you can't tell how much. And he's like, and that kind of comparison is fun, and that's what our brains want. We don't want all the crazy technical breakdown, not all the time. So that's me. That's me. Tomatoey and tigery equals the mug of beer. If you can't have fun in your comparisons, why stream? Besides, people are more engaged by that sort of comparison. I could sit here and go, cadmium, blah, 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 you know, naphthol, blah, 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 blah. I could do that. I'm capable of it. But today, I'm much more tomatoey and tigery. Oh, I hear a puppy moving around. Uh-oh. If there's a puppy moving around, somebody might have to take her out soon. Alrighty, I think I'm going to go right into, I'm going to try to bring up the back a bit with a bit of my sunrise orange mixed with my lantern and candlelight. And this is going to be harder because I'm working around the freehand at this point. But the freehand is also going to help disguise the fact that I might have less than perfect layering. So freehand has a way of doing that. Oh yeah, there's puppy howling now. Somebody's gonna have to take the puppy out. That's because Daddy's up and moving around and not taking the puppy out. But yeah, I may have to take a break and out the pupster in a second. Yeah, she's got a cute howl, huh? Oh, yeah. My last puppy, Blazy, Kiri's daughter, had the most soprano howl ever. It was super high pitched. Are you gonna walk away from that and not let it out? I think David is just feeling so bad. He's just like, he can't. I get there. I got there yesterday. I was like, I cannot puppy anymore, and I went to take a nap. But yeah. Oh, there we go. So we're getting some nice, you can do it. You can highlight around freehand. Yes. Yeah, she's adorable. Her howls are adorable. I'm actually really glad that she's a howler. I kind of hope that I can teach her to howl on command. That would be really cool. I always tried to teach Kiri and Blazy and Thorn to do it, but they would like do it when I came home and when I was about to let them out of their crates. Like they would do it then, but I could never get them to do it when they weren't in their crate. Now she's making grumpy noises. Uh-oh, there's a puppy bark. There you go. That's the offended, you are not letting me out, and I am done giving you sad howling, and now I will give you barking. Let's see if that works. So you've got those highlights coming out. That looks, see, this looks 10 times better already, guys. Yeah, Shiloh's have a bit of Malamute in them, and so we do get the woo-woo gene every once in a while. Leo never howled, not ever, but Kiri would do it. She was pretty high-low. She had a fair amount of Malamute in her by pedigree, and her daughter would do it. Probably learned it from Mama. There we go. So that's looking nice now. But yeah, so I find that the woo-woo gene does come down from the... If we do another Malamute outcross at some point, which we're considering, if we can find a good dog to do it with, then we may get more woo-woo genes. Or we are considering Samoyed. Samoyed would definitely bring the woo-woo. Like, they do woo-woo like the best with the best of them. All right, there we go. So now we got all tiger. That looks great. I like that. That's good. Huh, Basset Hound that did not howl. It's just like too much effort. Too much effort, not gonna howl. I think I'm gonna bring in, I didn't bring in a darker orange up here. I think I need to. That little panel just never got a really dark orange. It's the woo-woo gene, yeah. Unlikely to be on. Yeah, I bet everybody is still recovering. I'm sure it was a very taxing ReaperCon. I mean, I feel like I'm still recovering from ReaperCon just being here alone. I'm still recovering. So Ron and John can totally still recover. There we go. Got that. Ah, you have woo-woo gene. That's cool, and so even in a very flat surface, just putting on highlights like this does bring out the suggestion of texture. There we go. So I'm going to bring it up to yellow on the shoulder. Yeah. Yeah, especially if people, caught any plagues. All right, so I'm going to put a bit of a yellow glaze up on top of the shoulder here. So I want to shift the color lighter up where there's a lot of light. So let's bring up the yellow up here across the whole surface. Bring that a little bit lighter on top. So you can also do that with glazes, is you can just lighten an entire surface and still get the benefit of the highlights and shades that you've done Hold on, got a bit of water flood there. I need to take that off. Oh, the howl is back. David has con crud to the max trash. He is still sick after 4 days. Now you guys get Puppy who really wants to go out. Really wants to go out. Really badly. Yep, now it's the arf arfs. Yep, you're right. And she'll keep doing it unless you just ignore her. So it's really getting old here, guys. It's supposed to be 100 again today. Like, I thought it was going to break by now, but the heat is still hitting us. Oh, she just set your dog off. Hold on, hold on. Remember to ignore her. I'll close the door. Ignore her until she shuts up, then give her a treat. There, I closed the door, so that'll help. Yeah, except that the rest of Ohio I'm totally allergic to, Kodiak. The Midwest gets my allergies going like nobody's business. So we'll get a little bit of puppy barkiness. I mean, David is out there, and he is capable of taking her out, but we're not going to let her out when she's behaving like that, so she needs to settle down. We do not reward bad behavior in this household. If they learn that it works once, they're going to try it again. Yeah, I know, right? We're supposed to start getting it. I mean, yesterday it was in the 90s instead of in the hundreds, but then today it's supposed to get back in the hundreds. I'm very disappointed. Bringing that highlight up on that shoulder. I want the highlight across the shoulder. Yeah, the AC in Texas will kill you. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see. Is it a hurricane thing that's causing a pressure system that's trapping us in heat? I see. Yeah, because San Diego and LA have been like brutal, I hear. Baby puppy is definitely awake. All the wiki noises. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm with you. Like, I always had to. It was funny at Reaper, but this is true in Texas all over. Is I always had to put on a flannel or something when I was indoors because of the AC. The AC was always hyper aggressive in Texas. It's like Texans know that the weather is trying to kill them, and so they, go on a hyper aggressive counter campaign where the air conditioning tries to kill you instead. Oh, I'm sorry, your allergies have been acting up. Oh no, Wendy. It's like, no, kitty, I have sniffles. This is pretty rough, but I am playing. Yeah. I'm going to pop another glaze over the top of this. Still barkies. There was quiets, so hopefully he rewarded the quiets. Puppies are a work in progress, right? Total work in progress. They are such dingoes. Tiny dingoes. Tiny mini dingo. I believe I called her a mini dingo floof on my Discord the other day. So that's coming up nicely. Now I'm liking this orange a lot more. Oh no. Oh no, trash. That's terrible. We keep our bedroom one now that we have a little bedroom AC, which we adore. Thanks God, it got us. I can't even imagine trying to sleep without it through all of this heat wave. Um, but our bedroom one's been about, I think, 72. David likes it more like 68, 69. But I don't want to like overtax our new AC, and that's cold for me. Yeah, a frog. Yes, apparently a suicidal frog realized that they could get inside your AC unit. Perhaps he died in protest because he believes that frogs also deserve AC. What have we got? What time is it? I really feel like the puppy needs out, but if I at this point, if I get up and let her out, she's going to be a dingo, and she will require all my attention. However, you have a good point, Quindy, in that I have gone late the last like 3 days as far as the stream goes, so maybe I will call it a little early today. I'm going to mostly put the highlight toward the top front here, guys. I'm going to kind of blend it in just a little bit toward the back because his face is facing the light, so I want it up there. It's looking pretty good up there, guys. We've got that nice orange. See, now it's much better. I like this color much better now. Much, much better. I'm going to put a little highlight in here. And yeah, I may end a little early just so I can take little pupper out before it gets too freaking hot. I'm sure it's already in the 80s. Like, I closed up the house super early to preserve what cool air we had. There. Yeah, I'm liking how this orange is coming out now. It's much better. Much, much better. I'm going to do a little bit of base here. Oh no, we finally are losing the queen, huh? Oh, yeah. That's too bad. I mean, man, she had a long and amazing life, though, didn't she? All the things that she saw and lived through and had an influence on. Yeah, the queen seemed like a genuinely good sort. How old was she, guys? She had been up there, right? Bye, Crowley. 96. Them's a good run. That is a good run. Dang. But yeah, I'm just like impressed with her life. Oh wow, Big Apple. Yeah, that's awesome. 101st. That's fantastic. I wanna be in that camp. Yeah, when somebody like the Queen dies, I'm just like, wow, what an amazing life. There we go. Just kind of popping up some of my highlights higher there and down here. Yep. Yeah, Winston Churchill. World War II. That was a thing. Yeah, she's been through a crazy amount of stuff. There we are. Nice. Yeah. I mean, they say the key is to stay active, right? Stay active and interested in life. Oh, they always do, Inara. I ignore them. The tabloids in England are so toxic. I don't know why anybody reads them. It just seems terrible to me. I mean, not that ours are any better, really. I hate that there's an audience for toxic news, really. I'm a much happier person. I don't want all that. Oh dear. There we go. Look at it. Now we got our nice happy cloak is really coming out. Yeah. All right, and it's just about to tick over to 11. So yeah, in the name of puppy happiness, I will, and also puppy non-explosions, I will call the stream just a tad early. We did manage to get our orange looking really good today. Just want to get a little more highlight right here on that shoulder. His orange looks so much better now. Monty Python RPG is on the way, yay! Yeah, totally, her life should be totally celebrated. She had an amazing life. She went through so much. So many changes. So much crazy. Yeah, tomorrow, guys, we're going to be working on the kitty mage. We'll probably decide on colors. Maybe I'll let you guys choose the kitty's fur color, and then I'll try to figure out what color I want to do around that. But remember, we're doing a necromeouncer. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, Call of Cthulhu game scenarios. That would be one use. At least that makes them useful in our, for sure. For sure. Oh, a little bit too much on there. I made a little bit of a yellow highlight there, and it got out of control. It's hard to believe just because she's been around for so long. And looking good too at her age. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think got everything done well. Everything looks good. All the orange is in place. Hey, thanks for gifting a sub to Bob and Julie. That's very sweet of you, Zachariah. So yeah, strong possibility not. Yep. ReaperCon Recovery Week, guys. It's a thing. All right, so Kitty. We need to really get Kitty's Zenith figured out. So I'm going to be working a lot on tuning Zenith and kind of explaining like where I decide to put Zenith, maybe even in places where the primer didn't originally go and why. Oh my, and now more. Zachariah with the sub bomb. Ba, ba, ba. Thank you so much, Zachariah. We really appreciate that. Yes, indeedy. So yeah, come back for Kid tomorrow, guys, and we'll talk about colors and figure out what we're going to do. I wonder where oh, there's Kitty's tag. I have to remember to put Kitty's tag underneath. Kitty's tag underneath Kitty. There we go. And there we are. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you have a lovely day. And I will be back tomorrow morning with more of me, haha, for the Friday edition of Reaper Pro Tips. Yeah, and hopefully by next week we'll all be like on the mend. Right? All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.